Hey nerds, I'm Lee, and I have version 3 of our Illaoi versus Darius matchup guide. This is updated for Season 8. We are going to quickly go through pregame and then get back to the discussion. I would recommend for new people fighting against Darius to go a mix of defense and offense against Darius. Something like Phase Rush, Ultimate Hat, Celerity, and Scorch as your primary, and then you can mix it up in your secondary. Either Precision with Last Stand, something like Domination with Sudden Impact and Ravenous Hunter for more of a sustain path. Or you can go something like Grasp for an even tankier version. This is going to lack a little bit of damage, so with this I would recommend building a little bit more damage heavy, at least in your first two items. And then you can always go something like Glacial Augment to help stick on top of him and make sure that he can't get that outer blade, but this is going to be a little squishier. Klepto is an option, it's more of a personal preference. And then we can jump into back the discussion. I have somebody with me, somebody that I've played a lot against in Vantage. We have Mr. Tuba.
Hello.
Tuba is a guy I've been playing against in Vantage League, and he is a Rumble Darius main, currently Diamond 1. How's it going, Tuba?
It's going great. Got a mouthful of macaroni and cheese, so life is good.
It's all good. I have a replay up, but I also want to talk about pre-game. How does Darius win this matchup?
Well, I think all Illaoi matchups are like based on dodging the E, basically. So, in my like opinion of the Illaoi matchups, it's like it's not so much the champion you're playing; it's the can you dodge the E. Now it's nice to play champions.
Is what you're saying?
Yes, yeah. I think a lot of Illaoi matchups are skill matchups just because of dodging the E. It's nice to have a champion that can kill tentacles easily, which Darius can do. So I think that's a benefit Darius has over, say, like Rumble in the matchup, because I have the auto attack reset. I can pop a tentacle instantly, which can be pretty useful in the laning phase. Not super useful late game, but can be nice in the laning phase.
Alright, gonna interject here with a little Season 8 update now that we've had some itemization changes in the newer season. I would actually, instead of rushing a Death Stance, recommend a Sterix Gauge first item rush. The mix of damage and health is going to greatly increase your survivability against Darius, and then you can follow this item up with a Black Cleaver if he's building tank, or a Death Stance, or you can build all three. I would still recommend getting Tabi early, is going to help against Darius. You can look up this item set in the Illaoi subreddit. But yeah, Sterix is now a definite must-have first item against Darius. You can still definitely go with other items, but I found a lot of success. The Sterix shield gives you a ton of survivability, especially against the true damage on the ulti. Alright, going back into the game. Want to jump into the replay?
Sure.
I have a game. I think you will recognize it.
I assume it's from our last Vantage matchup.
I don't remember what our last one was. This is Illaoi versus Darius. Gelati was on Zillion.
Yeah, I think this is from our last matchup. I kind of regretted playing Darius here. I was thinking I maybe should have played Renekton instead, but ended up on Darius, and here we are.
So I'm putting these tentacles on the side. This is kind of Illaoi basics. I'm not going to get into this a whole bunch because I want to talk about specifics against Darius. But I'm putting tentacles on either side of the wall so that when I grab somebody's spirit, both tentacles will swing on it. And I'm just going to play this pretty safe. And basically just farm with Q level 1. Because you're going to out-trade level 1.
Yeah, if I recall this game, I feel like I didn't do a great job of dodging E's in this game. We'll see. We'll see if my memory is correct.
Do a little bit of camera work. We both hit level 2, and I just kind of instantly back off. I don't want you to pull me, get the free Q, and get stacks up off me. I just want to play a passive. And then if you come up to contest the spirit, I hit you and the spirit both with the Q. And then as soon as you start walking towards me, I just back off. Because that's a free trade for me. I get damage down on you and you don't get anything on me. Right there, as soon as you start walking towards me to defend your spirit, I'm just going to back off because I've already got damage down on it.
What do you think about playing against Illaoi? Do you think you run away from if she pulls your spirit? Do you think you run away immediately and just reset, or do you ever contest
Early
it?
game, I'm probably not going to kill your spirit ever.
Yeah.
So it's okay to contest it if you can dodge the Q on both you and the spirit. Especially if you're a champion that needs to win early game like Darius. And especially if she pulls you when there's no tentacle on the wall available, you're much less likely to take damage.
Makes sense.
I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this a little bit. Because this is just being passive, farming with Q, trying to land hits on Darius without walking up into pull range for Darius. It is important, if you do get pulled, to have your spirit, your test of spirit up, available, or like already hitting Darius, because that's going to buy you time to make him back off from you. I'm still full on mana, so there's nobody in the back. And I believe Gragas comes up for a gank soon. And I don't believe I'm sitting on any board, so I just want to play this back and carefully. I really want that CS, but I don't want to walk up without ulti.
Yeah, if I recall, this is the second game in our best of 2, and I remember really thinking I should have picked something different in this game, because I think that in the first game you kind of got the better of me, and
you actually bodied me first game.
Did I really? I didn't. I thought I remembered you being able to split pretty well the first game.
I split, but I didn't get very much. I wasn't very successful. I actually have some video clips of that game after this, but I wanted to show the laning on this because the laning was a little bit more calm. And by the numbers of how you're supposed to play this as Illaoi. So now that I'm 6, now that you're 6, this is when Illaoi can look to make plays. Try not to do a 2v1 against Darius, but it is possible. It's just riskier. If you miss your E, you need to back and run off. Is basically what this comes down to. Going for the CS there, and I probably shouldn't have. So there's the pull, and I'm gonna pause it here. So he pulls me, I don't panic. But you immediately land Test of Spirit because Darius has to be close to you to land that pull. And he's going to pull you right into melee range. So there's the Test of Spirit. I'm going to point out the prep work that's here. I have a tentacle out here, I have a tentacle here, and I have a tentacle here. So if any fighting is going to happen, I want to take the fight into this zone where I have the most control, and I don't want to take the fight over here or over here. Follow?
Looks beautiful.
Ulti. Tentacles. That's the Darius lane. You play like a giant wuss, you land tentacle grab, you ult. I know you were watching on delay a little bit.
Mhm.
This is a video clip from the first game. You went bot lane a bunch, so we were actually dead even. Instead of doing Black Cleaver, I decided to do Death Dance, which was probably not a super good idea.
I see you do that a lot in the Darius matchup. Is that you said that's not a good idea? I was thinking that was your preferred
I
first
think
item in
I think
Darius.
Phage Tabi is better. This was immediately after the Black Cleaver nerf, so that's kind of why I was going for more of the Death Dance route. I
Gotcha.
still think Cleaver Death Dance is the best 2-item combo for fighting Darius, but especially if you are not doing as well, having the more HP, the flat HP to withstand an ultimate hit is better. So like Phage Ninja
Makes sense.
Tabi. So this clip, you're 9, I'm 10. I think I got an XP advantage because you teleported bot, and then I just stayed top to farm. But this happens pretty much exactly the same way. Dodge the Q, E, ult. Any thoughts? It's about how it's supposed to go for Illaoi.
Yep. Looks
Second
about
clip
right.
here. This one, you teleported bot lane again. Basically, after that, I had shopped. I've got Death's Dance and a little bit of HP and armor. You guys actually... Like, this is a pretty solid start. Got a 2-man Q there. And then Rixie finishes it off. So, I saved this clip even though I did not do this very well, but I wanted to show the importance of kiting out and backing off when you miss your E. I could have gone in on this clip, so I go in, I throw the E, thinking that Jinx is running down this way, she stays in the bush, and then I back off. She flashes the Q, I get polymorphed. If I was in melee range with you guys would just be beating my face in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got Fizz and I've got Olaf coming in, so I just want to kite this out until my E cooldown comes back, or I have backup. Clip number 3, this is a late game fight. This is Cleaver GA, and it looks like you were building Death Dance components.
Yeah, that's what that was. This was when I was in the phase of trying to figure out a good second damage item because I was still going grasp after the cleaver nerf and.
So I did not have a very good mid game. I'm sitting at 3 and 5, and you're sitting at 4 and 7. So you have basically the same farm, but you've got a little bit better items with the GA there. But this one I picked because it shows some of the counterplay with the tentacles. So I grab your tentacles, and you start walking up. With just practice and experience, I've learned you might not want to ult right away if... Like, ult right away if you're definitely 100% gonna die if you don't ult. But I know that with my Death Stance, I can heal up. So he pulls me and immediately backs off. Because I think you've learned at this point that the ulti is coming. Get some damage down. Dodge the Q. And then late game, that E cooldown of Darius came back up, and I believe I was running Storm Raiders this time, and I used the Storm Raiders proc on the Spirit to get out. and to kite back, because if you had pulled me, that would have been a guaranteed 3 or 4 stacks on the ult, and I would have lost a whole bunch of health.
It's amazing how much damage E can actually do if it just sits there.
Yeah.
I think I probably should have just walked that one away.
So Jinx is coming, so you go aggressive. This is probably a correct call, especially since you've got your GA up. I get the spirit. You pull me away from the spirit, which is pretty good. Okay, you didn't have the GA up there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see the effect there, but you know, 7 deaths. Chances are one of them was a GA somewhere.
Yeah, but you guys end up getting that. Rixie is still more than alive. You probably would have gotten that kill solo 1v1. I shouldn't have probably stayed there, but we did get Baron off it, so it felt better.
Yeah, these 2 games definitely were. I mean, there's a lot of examples here of me just you know, in melee range of you and not being really careful of the E. And I think that's a big part of the matchup is definitely not putting myself in melee range when your E's up with no minions around or anything like that.
And it's hard when you get to late game and you have 30% CDR, 40% CDR.
Yeah,
Cooldowns
for sure.
get so short. But Darius has the same thing. His windows on the E for his apprehend go down pretty low, and Illaoi has to play around those just as much. This is a late game fight. I missed the tentacle, so you just come right in. Back away. We're still on the dragon. My cooldown's back up. I immediately look for it. Your jungler is calling in, or what does your comms look like at this point?
It's hard to tell. I mean, this was like 3 weeks ago,
right,
4 weeks ago, right?
This is the perfect thing for Illaoi to do in a team fight situation. You have an objective that you're fighting around. You have 1, 2, 3 tentacles nearby, and you're forcing your opponent to engage into you and run into you. So you get the E. I walk to a point that's a little bit closer, so I want to get a 4-man ulti. I don't think I actually get Tuba there. Get the tentacle grab again on Lulu. This game was... That game was difficult, but I think that was the final straw. So yeah, that was a little bit of laning, that was a little bit of mid-game, a little bit of end-game. Yeah, that's the Darius matchup. Play like a giant wuss until level 6 and then kill him. Don't miss your E.
Yep, don't miss your E. That's the that's the takeaway right there.
Let's see if I can get our